5 for the live session. I'm going ahead and use this time to make up a video for your use as far as the paper that's going to be due week 7, the review of 3 papers, 3 peer-reviewed papers, and your submission. Okay, so let's start from the beginning with our let's see, our course syllabus. I had it up at some point. I don't know what happened. No, there it is. So, looking at your reflection paper, you are going to pick a topic, first of all, from the entire book. It could be any developmental issue or disorder, disease, or anything that you want to, anything that affects human development. Okay, so it could be problematic for the society, for the communities, for families, or the individuals. So we have examples there: poverty, ageism, social media, single parenting, early childhood education, substance abuse, life satisfaction, etc. You are going to find a minimum of 3 peer-reviewed research articles, and you're going to write this paper in APA style, okay, with a cover page and a reference page. And these do not include the minimum of 3 to 5 pages. So if you did a minimum of 3 with the coverage page and the reference page, then that would be a total of 5 pages. If you did all the way to 5 pages in length, then that would be a total of 7 pages in length. Okay, and so you need to have 3 to 5 pages of actual article. If you write 2.5 pages, that is not 3 pages. Okay, that's 2 pages and a half a page. That does not equal 3. It has to be 3 full pages as a minimum. Okay, and so, which is relatively easy to do, especially given this article or given this thing that you're supposed to be doing. So now we're going to look at setting up your paper. For those of you who have Microsoft Office, this is the easy way to do it because I'm holding you accountable for everything in this video as far as the setup and everything goes. So start with a blank document. First things first, you are going to see that you need to set up your font. Many of you have to do that. It should be Times New Roman 12-point font. Now this is only in the header that I'm doing this. The other thing you want to look at is on the layout. Actually, we're going to want header and footers. Different first page. Okay. When you click on different first page, it allows you to put a running head. Your running head is capital R, lowercase running head, a colon, and then it's capitalized your title of your paper. Okay, so that's the first thing that you have to do. Make sure that the has a different first page, and then go on to typing that out. So about 2/3 of the way down, you are going to make sure that you are, again, Times New Roman 12-point font, and that everything is double spaced, 2.0. Now you're going to also have to look at, let me get this going first. You're going to have the title of your paper. You are the author, so you're going to put your name here, not mine. And then HS 3103. Okay. And then if you'd like, you can put the date. So 9/10/2020. Now, if you'll notice, there's actually more than 2 spaces here, because what you need to do after you get this all written is go back up to actually easier to do it this way. Go to paragraph, and if you don't check these out, see it's added 8 points to the end of the line. So then you do that, and now it's going to be correct. So now you should have actual two double spaced uh, paper. Go ahead and highlight these. If you hit Control E, it will center it. Otherwise, you can go up here and hit center. Okay, so these center it, and etc. Now you can hit enter and then hit Control Enter. That will take you down to the next page where you again put the title of your paper. This will be in bold. Okay. And below that, you will be able to put your first section header, right? So let's look at, you need to have these 4 headings, okay? So you have articles summary is next. Let's go back to your paper. Before we go further there, you have to have your heading, your header up here. Now you have running head up there, and down here you just have title of paper, and it's all caps. Okay. The other thing we can do is tab over till you get to the end, and then we can insert the page number in the current position, and just simple is fine. So now page 1 has all of the information. You can see that maybe I want to take my title of the paper up just a little bit so that it's more centered into the page. So now the title of the paper is there. And it should be double spaced still. And the first thing we have is the article review. Okay. Now this too can be bold and centered. You want to make sure that when you start typing, it's going to be bold. So you don't have to do that. You can just get rid of that. Now, article that you're going to pick. I am big, one of my research areas is on ACEs. So now to do the research part of this. So we're going to go back up here. We're going to go to your LWC and click on Library Resources. You are going to do research. If you look at psychology and sociology, most most of your stuff, even the human development stuff, is going to go under psychology. And so you have APA Psych Info database. That's someplace that you can use. You can also just go right to the EBSCOhost. That's also an easy one to use. So get to the EBSCOhost web. If you're more interested in education, you can pick education. ERIC, again, is another education resource. If you want if you're working on gender or sexuality, there's an easy one to use as well. And continue. Now you can do a basic search or the advanced search. So I am going to look at adverse childhood experiences and prevention. So as you can see, I got 2,210 articles. Now, when you're doing research, it's best to do the most relevant articles, and usually the most relevant are the ones that are within the last 5 years. So I'm going to narrow my search down from 2017 to 2021, and I want to go back I'll go from 2015 actually. So 2015 to 2021. And look at how those 2,000 some odd articles, most of them are actually within the last 5 years. The whole experience of looking at average childhood experiences has only been within the last 15 years. And so it's a hot topic for today, especially in human development and child abuse prevention. And so looking at this, I just want a general article about prevention. And so school success might be one way to intervene. So I might look at that article. The other thing I want to do is make sure that these are peer-reviewed articles. So I'm going to click on peer-reviewed, and it didn't really drop them down because most of them are on EBSCOhost. If you don't want to have the hassle of going through articles and things that you might like, and then you find out that they're not full text, you can click on full text. And as you can see, that really brought it down. I'm not going to do a lot on research, but there are lots of ways to get full text articles, even if it doesn't show full text here. That's a whole other time, or a whole other video, though. All right, so I'm going to pick preferably some articles that look good for this. Now, as you can see, if I want to look at specific populations, like ages, I can look at specifically anything that has to do with child and that's going to help narrow it down. You got it down to 62. So I'm looking specifically at children, and this article is probably going to help. So I'm going to click on this article. Now, the best thing to do is, as you read through this, I'm just going to save this page. So I'm bookmarking it so that I know where it's at because it's just an HTML. And so when you look at an article, you want to read this. Just a little bit of an intro in the beginning. To examine the association between average childhood experiences by multiple types and accounts of ACEs and challenges to school success. A cross-sectional study, that's the type of study that was done, was conducted using data from the 2016 National Survey of Children's Health using ACE module and 3 measures of challenge to school success. Lack of school engagement, school absenteeism, and repeated grades. And so they used a multivariable analysis adjusting for selected demographics and other characteristics. Children with 4 or more ACEs had higher odds of non-engagement in school. Reported absenteeism and of repeating a grade. And that's pretty common for kids who have ACEs. And so these are comparing children with 4 or more ACEs to those with 3 or less. The risk factors for all 3 challenges to school success included age of child, special health care needs, with older children and children with special health care needs more likely to have challenges to school success across all 3 measures. Our findings confirm that ACEs have an impact in childhood and adolescence, not just later in adulthood, as demonstrated by the association. These findings further illuminate the connection between ACEs and childhood outcomes of health, of education, and health. And so this is good initial research because they have shown that there's a connection. They can't say there's a causality, but there's a connection between the number of ACEs a child experiences and the 3 outcomes that they were looking at, right? So this is a good thing. This is a good thing to have because it's going to inform my overall paper. So I'm going to keep this paper and everything that I need to know about the references is right there. So now, as you're looking up your papers and you're going to use your references, might as well add that to the reference page. Okay. So I'm going to hit Control Enter here. And that's going to start a new page. And at the top of it goes References. In APA, that's what we call them, references. So Control E, and that looks like it's a lot of space there, so I'm willing to bet that I'm going to have to change that again. Then I'm not sure. See, it switched back to Calibri. So that stayed the same at least. We just need this bold. All right. Now looking at our information here, this is going to give us everything that we need to know to do our, I'm going to just bring it over to my other screen here. Y'all can't see that, but I can. It'll help me write my paper. So the authors go first. So it was, the first author is Elizabeth Crouch. So Crouch, E, period, comma, And then Elizabeth Radcliffe, comma, E. Okay. And then Hung P. Bennett K. So that's it. So it has 4 authors. And so that last author gets a comma and then an ampersand. And that period there. Then the year it was written, 2019. A period after that. And then the title. So challenges to. You notice that I am not capitalizing anything except for the first letter. Okay. And then you're going to put in the title of the publication used. And this does get capitalized. It was Academic Pediatrics. And it was volume 19, issue 8. Okay, now because this is on the internet, there aren't any pages. So when I cite something, it's got to be done by looking at the paragraphs. So it's a little bit different because it is on the internet. Okay. And it's an HTML. So we'll see later. So there's not really any pages to add because we can't cite pages because it's on the internet. If I wanted to, I could print it off and then I could cite it from it that way, but that's kind of a cheat. So we're not going to do it that way. Now, when you get there, you see that I need to adjust not the top one, just the bottom one. There's an indent there, and Academic Pediatrics 19 are all going to be italicized. So that is the proper citation for this particular paper that I'm using. Up here, I will list, let me do that. And I think that there's, yeah, did it. It reverted back to it. So now there's no more space there. And it's back at the top. So looking back at your title of your paper, we have article reviews. I guess I should put reviews. And then from there, you can put whatever you want, article 1. Now, article 1 is going to be bold. Okay. And then I'm going to go on and I would write, I'm not going to do it here for time reasons, of course, but I'm going to identify make sure that I go get rid of that bold. The first article I chose to discuss. Right. Oh man, I don't know why it's doing that. Doesn't matter. I'll fix it later. Was the 2019 article by actually discuss. And in here, I would put the author, and this is the proper citation. And see, once I get it down there, I can just but you don't need the initials. And the year. So now you have your citation. I'm going to fix that. I don't know why I kept coming up bold. I do want it italics because that's the name of the title or the article that I used. Usually you wouldn't put that name of the article, but that's you're reviewing the article, so you've got to. And so from there, what you want to do is describe the article and what happens. My focus was on prevention, so I need to look at prevent and how it's related to prevention or possible ways that it might be related to prevention. And so you're going to do that over and over and over again. Article 2, Article 3. And again, these are going to be bold, and then you're going to have your next heading, which is resources and or referrals. This will be bold and centered. Okay. And here you're going to do some more research and find out what kind of programs I would be looking at. What programs are available for reducing cases, right? My adverse childhood experiences. Now I can't put a acronym there without at some place defining the acronym. So I'm going to put ACEs up here to clarify that average childhood experiences is the same as that. Those ACEs match. Now, there might be stuff in social work. There might be stuff that's going on in school that helps reduce ACEs. So you have to find out if there's anything in your area that matches that. The next heading is prevention, intervention, or rehabilitative. Now, I know it's prevention because that's what I've set up to be. So all I have to do is put in prevention. Make it bold and center it. Okay. The question that I would be trying to answer is what makes this prevention versus the other ones. Okay. You need to be specific. You cannot just say it is prevention. You may be laughing, but I've had students just say, this is prevention. Well, tell me why it's prevention. What are you preventing? Okay. And then the last one is your thoughts. Okay. Again, Control B, Control E. And exactly that. As I was, your ideas. Okay. And then you're going to start printing or writing down okay. So that is the basic concept of your paper. If you really do it well, you could probably write 2/3 of a paper on each of your articles, describing them, what happens, how does it apply to what you're looking at. And then on top of that, so right there's 2 full pages, and then looking at your own resources and referrals, and you might not have any in your area. And so what are the next best things to that? What are other programs? Because one thing I can look at is I know that, to help prevent adverse childhood experiences, social work is key to that. Helping families identify needs that they have. So if there's no food, a family member is more likely to get hit. So maybe you have that's one way that you can do that. So helping identify families in need by providing food services or helping children who aren't getting enough food because of neglect with their breakfast, free breakfast, right? So you might have to look at resources and referrals a little bit outside of the box. Now, I hope that that helped with at least how to set up your paper and what the expectations. All of your papers should at minimum look like this. Okay. Now they all have to be filled in, obviously much better than what I've done here. I will actually make this file available if you want to use it to set things up. Now make sure that you are changing out your name for my name and don't just keep it title of paper, but put actually your title of your paper in it. But this is a good place. This is a good way to get started. You have an example of how to cite in text, and you also have what the citation should look like on the back. Now, one last thing, speaking of APA formatting, and it changed it back there too. Yeah. So, another good thing that you can do, you can always just go Control A, type it all, or grab it all, go to paragraph, and then hit 0 points. Now, when I'm done with this, everybody's, if you're going to borrow this, should be the same. Okay. So I don't know why this didn't. Oh, that's the other thing I need to do. Control A, make sure everything was double spaced. There we go. So now everything is double spaced. If you want to use this, feel free to use it. Remember, your reference page and your title page do not count towards the body. You have to fill it in. If you can use 2/3 of a page to describe each of your articles, right there's 2 pages, and then you only need to fit all this rest of the stuff on 1 page or more. You have 3 pages left. So when it comes to helping with APA formatting, the best place I like to go is Purdue OWL APA. If you go to APA style, Purdue Writing Lab, all kinds of useful information here. They have a paper that helps you understand the general format, in-text citations, the different authors, the reference list, the basic rules. If you get your, now everybody should be getting them from an article like we researched. And they did have an example, a sample paper. So if you look at the sample paper, there's lots of really great things here. Okay. So we are going to continue to use the running head. As you see, everything else is there that you need. You do not need to write an abstract. So if you have quotes, these are the directions that you use for a quote. Notice that there's a page number involved in the quote. If I were going to quote this paper, I would not use the page number. I would have to use paragraph, so PP. And if I were going to quote from this paragraph, it would be the 1, 2, it would be the third paragraph. Okay? So that's what you need to do. Again, this is just an example. Really easy to use. You don't have to worry about charts or tables. You shouldn't have that stuff in this paper. And you should not have quotes. Okay? No reason to have a whole lot of quotes, and they shouldn't be very long quotes if you do use. Quotes should be used sparingly. I don't want to hear somebody else's thoughts. I want to know what your thoughts are. So if you have any questions, I am going to have you keep the running head in. But like I said, it's already done for you, so you just have to change the title of the paper. I will make this paper available to you, my initial paper that you can use on Word. If you don't have Word, there's nothing that I can do. I'm sorry, I can't help you. But if you use Word, then that's what you can use as a sample. And that's Purdue OWL, great resource. The library is a great resource, learning how to use the research. You will lose points if they are not peer-reviewed articles, okay? So be very mindful of that. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, and I hope you all find this useful. And that's your basic formatting for APA.